Well, my friends, welcome back to Spot On with Link Lauren, a show where we're going to break down the calamities of Hollywood, the circus of Washington, D.C., and everything in between. We have so much to discuss today, okay? We have to talk about First Lady Melania Trump, Michelle Obama, the election that happened last night. We have a royal update and so much more. We also have to talk about Jennifer Aniston's new boyfriend. But I want to start, okay, by discussing this election that happened last night. Everyone is talking about Zohran Mamdani, Comrade Mamdani in New York City. Of course he won. I don't know why people are reading so much into last night's election. To be honest, Democrats were poised to win all of these races, okay? They were poised to win in Virginia, New Jersey, New York City. So I'm not shocked that Zohran Mamdani won, okay? You have Andrew Cuomo, who is a very flawed candidate who no one likes. You have Zohran Mamdani, and then you had Curtis, and Curtis didn't have a shot, but it's his right to stay in the race, which he chose to do. And even if you add it up, I still think Zohran Mamdani would have won in New York City. Now, what's interesting, a lot of folks say they're going to flee New York City because of Zohran's policies, right? He wants $65 million for transgender procedures. He wants rent freezes. He wants free everything, free this, free that. All of these folks saying they're going to flee New York City. If you guys come to our red states, okay, Texas, Florida, Wyoming, you name it, please do not bring your liberal policies and liberal voting records. This happens all the time, okay? People flee Los Angeles, Chicago, New York because they're turning into liberal hellholes, and then they come to our states and they want to bring those same voting records, and then they're like, oh, why did that happen? If you're gonna leave, okay, I'm a common sense person. If you're gonna leave over those policies, come to our red states and maybe give our policies a chance, okay? Give our policies a chance. Now, the group that Zohran Mamdani did best with were these highly educated, young, white, liberal women. And we've talked about this all the time, okay? Rich, affluent, white liberal women with all their college degrees, they are probably the biggest threat facing democracy besides, radical Islamic extremism, okay? So you put them together, you get Zohran Mamdani's coalition. You get the rich white girls who like to go to SoulCycle and Orange Theory, and then you get all of these sort of invasion of Islam in the West and all of Zohran Mamdani's friends who hang out at the mosque. So you put that together, you get Zohran Mamdani's coalition. So it's not shocking to me at all that he won. I also think Zohran Mamdani's win could end up being a gift to Republicans in the long run because people will realize democratic socialism does not work. It's never worked in history, ever, in any country. Socialism has always crashed and burned. It's never turned out great. So I think people in New York City, they might have to experience this to then move back to the middle, to move to the right. And people usually move more to the right the older they get anyway. So these 18 to 29-year-olds who are all for Mamdani because he's promising them a bunch of free crap, in a couple of years, they might grow up and say, oh, he wasn't able to deliver on any of that. And there's actually no free ride in life. There's never a free ride. The last thing I'll say about Mamdani before we move on, because you guys, I'm sure, have been inundated with Mamdani all night and will be today as well. New York City makes up 9% of the United States economy, right? I'm not going to disregard New York City. I left New York City in January 2023 because I saw the writing on the wall. But New York City is still a global powerhouse for commerce and trade. All of those billionaires Zohran Mamdani wants to tax, they are going to move to Florida and Texas. So they might not even be there in New York City for him to try to tax. Also, things are going to have to go through Kathy Hochul and the state. Zohran Mamdani is not going to be able to deliver on anything, but I'm just not even sure that it's about delivering. I think a lot of these young people, they hate Trump, they hate Republicans, they have Trump derangement syndrome, and they just want disruption. And they see Zohran Mamdani as disruption. That's what this is all about. They don't actually care that much because they're affluent, because they can actually pay their rent, and because they actually have money in the bank. So they don't really have many consequences of Zohran Mamdani or his policies. They just want disruption. But now let's move on to someone I like a whole lot more than Zohran Mamdani, and that is First Lady Melania Trump. Now it's time for one of my favorite things. We have another installment of FLOTUS Update, where we give you an update on everything the First Lady has going on, okay? I want to start off by telling you guys, this Thursday in New York City, First Lady Melania Trump will receive the Patriot of the Year award at the Fox Nation Patriot Awards. Now, some of these trolls, these leftist trolls are saying, what has she done to be Patriot of the Year? Why are they giving Patriot of the Year to Melania Trump? Let me tell you, okay? As the leader of the Melania Trump fan club, I will tell you right now, not only is she stunning on the outside and beautiful and gorgeous and a supermodel, she's also stunning on the inside. She has been working quietly behind the scenes to reunite children with their families, right? Children who have been lost and displaced because of the war in Ukraine and Russia, right? She has worked behind the scenes to do that. not because she wants praise or fanfare or adulation, but because she loves and cares about children. And you can see that as a mother, she really loves her son, Barron. There's no one she loves more than Barron, her own son. So in my eyes, she's a patriot for trying to get these kids back with their families. You look at Be Best, her campaign. You look at the Take It Down Act. That's something that's going to help young people all across the country, okay, who are victims of revenge porn, who maybe sent a picture or a text when they shouldn't have. That Take It Down Act was bipartisan, and it's going to come in handy for so many young people in this country moving forward. Will First Lady Melania Trump get credit for that? Probably not. The last thing I'll say that makes her a patriot. First Lady Melania Trump has really been tackling AI, artificial intelligence, and AI education. Now, Michelle Obama and former first ladies, what would they do? They'd go plant a little vegetable garden, they'd do some cartwheels and some push-ups and some herkies, and they would say they're changing the world. She is tackling, First Lady Melania Trump, such 21st century issues, right? AI education, AI in schools. How can we use AI for good when it comes to medical and health advancements? And how can we be aware of the pitfalls of AI and teach young people about them and really tackle this? So First Lady Melania Trump, in my eyes, she's a patriot because she's not resting on her laurels. She's not sitting back. She's tackling major issues that no other First Lady would probably have the gall or the balls to tackle. And she's doing it in 5-6-inch stilettos. So we love First Lady Melania Trump. The last thing I'll say, as part of this FLOTUS update, the holidays are coming up. How is it already November? I know how it's already November because we've been through a lot this year, but wow, it's November. But the holidays are coming up, and the White House is going to reopen its public tours on Tuesday, December 2nd, with an updated route offering guests the opportunity to experience the history and beauty of the People's House. In celebration of the holiday season, all December tours will feature the White House Christmas decorations on the state floor. The decorations in each room will be thoughtfully designed and curated under the direction of First Lady Melania Trump. Visitors will have the opportunity to enjoy the beautiful tradition and see the warmth and the faith and the festivity. And we actually have some clips from 2019 where she did sort of a bright white holiday theme in the White House. So I can't wait to see what she does this year. I think the White House tours are going to be gorgeous. So shout out to First Lady Melania Trump. We absolutely love First Lady Melania Trump, but now we have to move on. Now, moving on to a woman who could actually use some help and work in her life, we have to talk about Jennifer Aniston. Now, Jennifer Aniston, you might remember her from the show Friends from about 25 years ago. Well, Jennifer Aniston, she has hard launched her new boyfriend, her new beau on social media, and she's telling everyone allegedly, he's the one. This is the one. Okay, she's thought, she had the one before a couple of times. She thought Brad Pitt was the one. Then he ran away to go marry Angelina Jolie and buy a bunch of kids from Africa. So clearly, Brad Pitt was not the one. Jennifer Aniston, she has found this man. His name is Jim Curtis. He's 50 years old. Jennifer Aniston, I think she's 52 or 56 years old. They're close in age. He is a self-help guru, life coach, hypnotherapist, everything I can't stand, okay? Everything I can't stand. And I want to start by playing you guys a clip of him. Let's take a look and try not to vomit.
How to find love at 42? That's a great question. Same as you do at 22 and 32, but with more confidence, more experience, and more authenticity. You are not old. First, love yourself and recognize that you are the perfect age and that life is not over at 42. When you are 62 and 72, you will look back at 42 and wish that you were that age. So start now. Go out, open yourself to love, make eye contact and smile, connect with people, and most importantly, love yourself. When you love yourself, you will magnetize more love to you.
I literally almost threw up in my mouth. Okay, I had to take a sip of tea. Okay, I had to take a sip of tea. I almost threw up in my mouth listening to that. Okay, he reminds me of this guy I dated years ago in New York. Okay, he was also into all the self-help, lifestyle stuff. And look, whatever gets you through life, you guys, I'm not judging. I'm really not judging. I'm judging. But whatever gets you through the day and what gets you through life, okay, life is hard. Life is going to throw crap at you. So some people really can relate to all of this self-help stuff and the videos help them. To me, I find it so cringe. I find him to be so funny. He's physically attractive. If he would shut up, if he would actually just stop talking, I would find him way more attractive. But when he opens his mouth and he does all of that kumbaya, namaste, love is love, love will find its way to you. Shut up. Okay, please shut the hell up. Actually, but he reminds me of this guy I used to date who was really into yoga and all of this namaste stuff. And he'd go do like yoga retreats and had all of his crystals. And I'm like, okay, I can't deal with all this. Okay, I want Chick-fil-A and a cheeseburger and I want to sit here and watch old movies. I don't want all this crap. I don't even think he owned a TV because it was against all of his namaste, kumbaya, poo-poo, caca stuff. But Jennifer Aniston has this new boyfriend. I think part of the reason Jennifer Aniston has glommed onto this guy, and he's a self-help lifestyle coach, I think it's because her life maybe was in shambles, right? There have been rumors for years, just rumors allegedly. Jennifer Aniston, she traipses around her house at night, chain smoking and drinking, and she's kind of a hot mess, and she really hasn't had a hit in years, okay? She was on Friends, she did some movies in the early 2000s, and she's sort of just been famous for being famous since then, right? She's famously bad in love, right? She's famously had a hard time in the love department. And you know when your life is in shambles, or even if you're just having a bad day, you'll be having the worst day, you'll have gotten bad news, and like someone will be nice to you in like a drive-through window, and you're like, thank you so much, thank you. I feel like that's Jennifer Aniston, right? Her life has been in shambles so long that this guy came along, and he's like, it's gonna be okay. This is a journey, and life is a process. And she's like, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Do I think this is gonna go the distance? Maybe. I also think it is great. I think it's great when people find love in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It's like, you've been through it, you're mature, your frontal lobe is connected, you guys can come together as adults and be like, okay, we like each other, we love each other, we want to hang out and spend time together and be best friends. So in that regard, I'm not even going to hate on Jennifer Aniston, not going to hate on her for not having children, not even going to go there. I just think this guy is so insufferable, and I want to play you one more clip of him, and then we're going to talk a little bit more.
Repeat after me 3 times in the morning and 3 times at night to build your confidence and to step into manifestation. I am enough exactly as I am. I choose trust over fear. No one's approval defines my worth. I am complete, happy, and whole.
Okay, I am all for the positive affirmations and all the kumbaya stuff, okay, if that is what helps you get through life. But when it comes to this man, Jim Curtis, that just wouldn't work for me, okay? That's just not gonna work for me in a relationship, right? I want a guy who knows how to like fix a flat tire, screw in a light bulb, fix the toilet, throw me on the bed. I don't want all of this like, repeat after me, love is love and kumbaya and moo mama. I don't want all that. I don't want all that crap. It's not gonna work on me. And I also have this to say. When you're in a relationship with a guy like that, you know he has to win every single argument. He's a self-help life coach guru. He's probably such a straight up asshole. Okay, all those self-help people are straight up assholes in real life, like Oprah, right? Everybody knows Oprah was a menace on the set. Ellen DeGeneres, her whole thing was be kind, and then she was like running the Stanford prison experiments backstage at her show, okay? So this guy, Jim Curtis, when he gets into an argument with Jennifer Aniston, which is inevitably going to happen in every relationship, you're going to have arguments and fights. You know he's going to have to win. He makes a living telling people how to live their lives. He's either going to win the argument, or you're just going to get so sick of doing all the kumbaya, circuitous thinking, you're just going to let him win. I think that's what's going to happen with this guy, Jim Curtis. But we wish Jennifer Aniston well. She's had a hard time in love. We wish her well with Jim Curtis. I think a little bit for him too. He has to be thinking. In my opinion, that this is good for his career, right? He's gained so many followers since he started dating Jennifer Aniston, especially since they've gone Instagram official. I think it's funny when people in their 50s and 60s are like, we're going Instagram official. So I think he's gained a lot of followers from this. This is going to help his business, and he's not an unattractive guy. He looks great, and maybe this is the one for Jennifer Aniston because, like I said, maybe her life has been a hot mess, and she thinks, okay, dating a life coach is going to be great. And I know I said I was done. I have one last thing to say. These people, these life coaches, I have so many friends who are like psychologists, psychiatrists, and therapists and all this, and there are some good ones out there. Most of them, their lives are crazy too. Their lives are a hot mess. They'll go out partying on the weekends, their relationship is in the gutter, and then they go to work and they're playing the role of a therapist trying to tell you what to do with your life and help you like they're in some position of knowledge. So all of these self-help people, once he gets off the camera filming his self-help videos, he's probably a hot mess. In my opinion, we need the hidden cameras on the self-help guy because those who do a lot of preaching, maybe their side of the street looks like a bomb went off. But I'm about to go off on something else. We got to move on to the next topic. This next story I want to discuss is all about Gold's Gym. Apparently, Gold's Gym would rather prioritize a biological man being in the women's locker room than actual women, okay? Women should be allowed to go to the gym and work out and be in the locker room and feel safe, okay? There are women who have had bad experiences with men, who have been assaulted, who have been attacked, who are maybe mistreated in their upbringing by their fathers, who knows? So when a woman is in a locker room and they see a grown man in there as they're changing, it can be traumatic and scary for some women. We're also in a culture, right? We want women to be hot, right? I love hot chicks. We want girls to be hot and be fit, okay? Guys like it. Everybody likes it. We want these girls to go work out at the gym and be fit. And then you put a bunch of men in their locker rooms and make them feel unsafe. It's disgusting, and shame on Gold's Gym. Shame on Gold's Gym Los Angeles for prioritizing a man over this woman, Tish Hyman. Now, Tish Hyman, she is a black lesbian. Not that we're into identity politics, but I love when the call is coming from inside the house sometimes, right? You've got a black lesbian who the Democrats and the far left think they have on lock. And she's like, no, I don't care what you guys think about me. I want common sense. I don't want a grown-ass man in the locker room. And then I found out online, he allegedly has a rap sheet a mile long. He allegedly has a criminal record, this guy. So you have a grown man with a criminal record, allegedly, in the girls' locker room as they're changing. And then even after the argument, he just waltzes back into the locker room like nothing's wrong, like he won that fight. And I think a lot of these folks are hiding behind sort of like trans and non-binary, but they're actually just creeps. I think they're actually creeps who want to watch women change. This guy makes really no effort to look like a woman, to look feminine whatsoever. He looks like a straight up dude, and he's going into the locker room and making girls uncomfortable. And I want to play you a clip of Tish Hyman in her car discussing this fresh after the incident.
Trans women are going into the women's locker room and not really caring about how women feel about it. And it's really hurtful, yo. Like, how you gonna say you want to be a woman or that you are a woman, but you don't give a fuck how women feel? Today I was naked in the locker room. I turn around and there's a man there in boy clothes, lip gloss, standing there looking at me. I'm butt naked. So the first thing I think is maybe there's a worker in here. Maybe I missed a sign. I say the word sir to say, sir, what are you doing in here? He goes, don't fucking talk to me. I'm a woman. I have a right to be in here. Immediately, I'm fucking pissed because I'm butt naked. I feel violated. I feel like weird. Like, I don't want to deal with this, right?
God bless this woman. God bless Trish Hyman, because she should not have to experience this in the gym. And shout out to all the women and men who have her back on social media. So we just want to say shout out to Tish Hyman. Common sense is back, okay? A majority of the country, an overwhelming majority of the country, they do not think men should be in women's locker rooms or on women's sports teams. But unfortunately, you have this loud, vocal, woke minority that keeps pushing this and pushing this. The one thing I will disagree on with Tish Hyman on, because she spoke about this on social media, she said, what if we just create a locker room for trans people or a sports team for trans people? And I used to think that, actually. I used to say, well, maybe they can have their own league and maybe they can have their own this. But at this point in my life, here we are in 2025, I'm just going to be brutally honest with you guys. It's my job to say what we're all thinking. Why should we have to bend over backward for like 1% of the population? 1% of the population, maybe. Like, why should we have to create a whole separate bathroom, create a whole separate sports league and do all of that? No, okay? There are some things I don't get to do because of who I am. There are certain things I can't do because, let's say, okay, I'm not a 6'5" freaking ripped guy. I'm not ever going to play for the Dallas Mavericks. Am I going to cry and say, y'all need to create a new league for me because I want to play basketball? No, there are things in life that we don't all get to do. We don't all have carte blanche and entree into every single space just because we want it. And so I don't think we should bend over backwards and capitulate. Most gyms have family restrooms already, or all gender restrooms. I don't think we need to even do more than we're already doing, okay? We don't need to do it. And this narrative from the left that trans folks are second-class citizens or it's unsafe to be trans, they're so protected by the mainstream media and so many of these institutions, especially in major cities. I mean, look what Gold's Gym did. Look what Gold's Gym did. They just told half the population. They told women, F you, we don't care about you women. We're going to prioritize one guy with a male appendage, some sicko who wants to be in the women's locker room. And then y'all try to tell me that trans people are some like underprivileged class of citizens who are oppressed? F you. F you. Okay? I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. It's like that Glamour magazine we spoke about on here. Glamour magazine came out with their Women of the Year issue. They put 9 guys on the cover. They put 9 guys, transgender women, on the cover. So I'm sick of all of this, oh, trans people are under attack and trans people are oppressed. No, they seem to be getting entree into all these spaces and special treatment all the time. But we got to pay some bills. And then when we come back, we have a lot more hot topics to discuss. Did you know chips and fries were cooked in tallow until the 90s when big corporations switched to cheap, processed seed oils? Now those oils are about 20% of the average American's daily calories, and studies link them to metabolic health issues and inflammation. It's crazy how this was sold as healthy. That's why I'm obsessed with Masa chips. They created a delicious tortilla chip with simple ingredients: organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. No seed oils, no fillers. These chips are crunchier, tastier, and sturdy enough for guac without breaking apart. Snacking on Masa, you feel satisfied, light, and energized. No crash, bloat, or sluggish vibe. That beef tallow is key, keeping you full so you don't binge endlessly. My favorite, the original, fresh, savory, and perfect for any vibe. Ready to give Masa a try? Go to masachips.com/link and use code LINK for 25% off your first order. That's masachips.com/link, code LINK for 25% off your first order. And if you don't feel like ordering online, that's fine. Masa is now available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket, so stop by and pick up a bag before they are gone. Well, a tale as old as time, former First Lady Michelle Obama is back complaining. Literally, I banished her to Bitch Island 1,000 times because all she does is bitch and moan. Apparently, she keeps coming out of the woodwork and doing interviews to complain. Now, to show you how ridiculous she is, she's on a book tour, not because she wrote some brilliant book with wisdom for young girls that's going to shape them and change their lives. She did a book on her clothes and her hair. Okay, the level of narcissism, the sheer narcissism. Like, you're a former first lady and you're doing a book on your clothes and your hair, and then Michelle Obama's fans want to get mad at us for talking about her clothes and her hair. She is literally making money doing a book on that very thing. And look, I'm not a supermodel. I understand. Am I in a position to opine on how people look? Not really, but it's my job. Y'all can talk about my hair and my outfits. I don't care. It doesn't hurt me, okay? And it certainly isn't hurting Michelle Obama because she lives in a massive mansion. But we have a clip. We have a clip where Michelle Obama complains that she had to go out of her way to show her feminine side.
Want to be professional, at least I did. I wanted to be taken seriously, but there is the expectation there's a level of femininity to being the first lady. And as a Black woman, I felt that I had to make sure that people could see my feminine side.
So I wanted to take advantage of the fact that as the First Lady, yes, you can be smart and educated and beautiful and sexy and interesting and all those things. And yes, you can be a Black woman, a tall 5'11" Black woman.
Okay, new drinking game. Every time Michelle Obama starts a sentence with, as a Black woman, take a shot, okay? Take a shot of whatever you have in your cup. It's hump day if you're listening to us. If you're listening to us on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, take a shot, take a sip. Because Michelle Obama, the one thing you can expect her to do is to start every sentence with, as a Black woman, I thought we were supposed to have equality of the sexes. I thought your husband was supposed to break down barriers for Black people. I thought he was supposed to uplift the Black community. What are we still doing with all the DEI identity politics crap? Okay, Michelle Obama's like, as a Black woman, I have it so hard. No, you literally fly around on private jets and live in a massive mansion and probably own multiple homes. You have a home in a really nice neighborhood in Washington, D.C., a home in Martha's Vineyard, God knows where else, okay? So for Michelle Obama to complain like she just has it so tough, it's why these Democratic elites are so out of touch with working class Americans. Kamala Harris was out of touch with working class Americans. The forgotten men and women of this country, they don't want to hear a rich woman like Michelle Obama complain about her hair and her clothes. I'll also say this. If you're a woman, why do you have to try so hard to show your feminine side? She's like, as a 5'11" woman, I had to work really hard to show my feminine side. Really? Really? No one was even judging you that harshly. Like, Vogue loved you. The, liberal literati in New York City, they loved Michelle Obama. All they did was heap praise on her. They put her on the cover of Vogue 3 times. She was on the cover of Vogue 3 freaking times. And now she wants to say that she was judged harshly for her clothes. All you were was praised for your clothes ad nauseum, time and time again. Michelle Obama, time and time again. And the last thing I have to say about Michelle Obama's bitch complain tour is this, okay? She complains that she was judged for her clothes and her hair and all of that as First Lady. It was just so hard living in sort of this glass house in the White House and being watched and observed. Say thank you. Say thank you for having the privilege and the honor of being First Lady. Just say thank you. Is it that hard? No one needs to hear you complain. Second of all, First Lady Melania Trump is judged so harshly for every little thing. The liberal media doesn't show Melania Trump any grace. They praise Jill Biden. They praise Michelle Obama because they check that box. They're Democrat women, okay? So they check that box. Melania Trump is judged so harshly. She had to watch her husband almost die. How many assassination attempts has her husband had? She's watched her home get raided. Her drawers were gone through by the FBI at Mar-a-Lago. And you want to come on here and say that you had it hardest as First Lady? And Melania Trump never complains. You would never hear First Lady Melania Trump go out on a TV show and complain, oh, they didn't like my dress. They really didn't like that hair. No, she loves this country. First Lady Melania Trump, one thing I love about her, she talks about how she came to this country the right way. She embodies the American dream. She knows it's an honor and a privilege to be First Lady of the United States. Melania Trump would never go out there and complain. Michelle Obama is literally doing a tour to complain that 10 years ago, some people maybe said they didn't like her dress. Try harder, sister. But we got to move on to someone else, and that is Karine Jean-Pierre. Now, speaking of identity politics, former White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, whenever I say her name, I imagine she has like a beret and a baguette and one of those like long, obnoxious French cigarettes. That's what I imagine when I say Karine Jean-Pierre, the first Black French lesbian woman to be press secretary, and we don't give a crap. But Karine Jean-Pierre, she's also making the rounds, right? She's also making the rounds to promote her book called Independent. I think what we should do, Kamala Harris, she's on her book tour. It's an utter calamity. Michelle Obama, she's on her book tour. It's a disaster. Karine Jean-Pierre, I think all three women could get together and just do a tour where they complain about being women of color, because that's what they're all doing separately. Maybe they could all combine forces and do like a trio. You know what I'm saying? They could go do a little trio, kind of like the Spice Girls, or the lack of Spice Girls. They can go do a little tour and complain about how they had it so hard being in the White House. That's something they all have in common, actually. They're all women of color who had the privilege and the honor of working in the White House, and then all they do is bitch and complain about it. So maybe they can go on the bitch tour and complain together. KJP, Michelle Obama, Kamala Harris. Hello, give me my 10% cut. Give me my 10% cut and finder's fee right now, ladies. But Karine Jean-Pierre, I want to play you a clip of her, Karine Jean-Pierre, and I'm actually girding my loins to listen to this clip because she's also insufferable. She complains we should not be telling her how to identify.
Pisses me off that people who have not walked in my shoes, who have no idea who really I am as a person, get to tell me how I get to identify myself or not. So it's like, shut up. I was like, you can't tell me how I get to identify myself. You can't tell me how I get to call myself. Like, screw you. Like, that's not okay. Like, that is not okay. You have no right to tell anybody how they should identify themselves and how they see themselves in the world. Like, you have not walked through my battles. You have not walked through my life. You don't even know my personal story.
I'm so tired of the victim card. I'm tired of the victim card from someone who is the White House press secretary who has made millions and millions of dollars. And she's like, you haven't walked in my shoes. You haven't walked in my journey. And you haven't walked in my shoes. Nobody walks in anyone's shoes, okay? You don't walk in my shoes. People at home watching this, I don't walk in your shoes, okay? And you don't want me to walk in your shoes because I'm barefoot and my feet are sweaty and stinky right now. But nobody walks in anyone's shoes in life, okay? I don't know who told these chicks, Karine Jean-Pierre, Michelle Obama, and Kamala Harris, that everything was supposed to be hunky-dory. Life's tough, okay? Life's tough. So all of this, you don't know my journey and you haven't walked in my shoes. I don't know who didn't tell you this growing up. It's every man for themselves out here, okay? It's survival of the fittest. It's the freaking Hunger Games out here, okay? No Ozempic. But it's the Hunger Games out here in life. Every man for themselves. So stop complaining, okay, that people are discussing you when you're on a book tour. You're coming out with a book. You're probably making millions of dollars off the book, and then you're mad when we want to critique you and critique the book? Get a frickin' grip, you idiot, Karine Jean-Pierre, you bird brain, you little bird brain KJP. Get a grip, okay? And if she doesn't want people discussing her identity, then she needs to stop going on every show and talking about her identity. Talk about what you've done and what you've accomplished. But the thing is that these women have accomplished nothing. Nothing. KJP, Michelle Obama, Kamala Harris has nothing to do with skin color, nothing to do with gender. I would say the same thing if they were white, handsome men. Okay, I call it like I see it for everyone. I judge everyone the same, and that's one of the things you guys like about me, and one thing we have in common. I judge men, women, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, you name it, all the same. I judge based off of merit. None of them have done anything. So that's why when they go on these shows and they're backed into a corner and people say, well, you kind of messed this up and you messed this up, and what have you accomplished? They go, well, I'm a black woman. I'm a woman of color. I'm a minority. I don't care. I literally don't care if you're like a purple cyclops from Venus, okay? Just tell me something you've done in life. Tell me something you've done. Now, speaking of another woman in politics who has accomplished absolutely nothing in the last almost 90 years, that is Nancy Pelosi, probably one of the most divisive women in politics ever. Well, Nancy Pelosi, she's also been making the rounds doing interviews. I think these women need to talk less, okay? I've actually seen focus group and polling data, especially for Hillary Clinton. The less people see of her, the more they kind of like her. But when she goes out there and does interviews, people trust her less because she's evasive. And I think all of these folks need to learn this, okay? President Trump, more is more. Okay, more is more with him. The more interviews he does, the higher he goes up in the polls, right? He is singular in the sense that more is more. That doesn't work for almost anyone else in politics. And I want to play you a clip of Nancy Pelosi where she calls Trump a vile creature and the worst thing on the face of the earth.
It's a vile creature. The worst thing on the face of the earth. But anyway.
You think he's the worst thing on the face of the earth?
I do, yeah.
Now, I give credit where credit is due. And if you can tell by my outfit today, I love a green suit. I did not mean to match Nancy Pelosi, but I love a green suit, okay? So I will give credit where credit is due. I love the green suit on Nancy Pelosi. If you guys see me wearing that out in real life, just shut your traps, okay? So that's number one. Number two, Nancy Pelosi, in my opinion, she has had a little bit of a facelift and filler. She looks refreshed and rejuvenated. I don't know what plastic surgeon is putting an 85-year-old booze hound under the knife for surgery, but nonetheless, she does seem to be a little tweaked, okay? And these plastic surgeons, they're all doing this new thing. It's the lift and fill, okay? They put you under, they go, they pull your skin, and then they fill it with a bunch of stuff. I don't know if it's Fix-A-Flat or what they're putting in these women's faces, if it's concrete, but Nancy Pelosi, those cheeks don't look God-given. But what is God-given to Nancy Pelosi is her disgusting, horrible demeanor, where she blames everyone else for her problems. If you are calling everyone else a vile creature and disgusting, you might be the problem. You might need to be, metacognitive and self-reflective and look in the mirror, because Nancy Pelosi has done nothing but sow division. And I think what's really vile about Nancy Pelosi is that she and her husband, Paul, have allegedly insider traded and enriched themselves to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, Nancy Pelosi is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and then she wants to go out there and tell all these people, you need to vote for my policies because Trump sucks. You need to vote for me because Trump's evil. He's a horrible creature. Nobody likes you. You are literally the embodiment of the swamp. You are the freaking embodiment of the swamp, Nancy Pelosi, okay? All of the money you've enriched yourself with, every time you go out on TV, you're blaming everyone else for your problems in the Democratic Party. You've been around for decades. You might be the problem. And if we're going to talk about vile creatures, okay, I think the men and women in the Democratic Party who supported open borders, who supported the lawfare against Trump, which clearly did not work, who have Laken Riley and Jocelyn Ngari's blood on their hands, who think men should be in women's sports, who support every war around the world, those folks in the Democratic Party, in my opinion, you guys are the vile creatures. But we got to pay some bills. And after we pay some more bills, we'll be back with a Royal Roundup. Okay, you guys need to hear about this. Today's show is brought to you by Oxford Natural, the people behind Optimum Day and Optimum Night. These are all natural supplements, and thousands of Americans are already on them because they actually work. Here's the deal. Optimum Day gives you clean energy. It kills those cravings and helps with weight loss. Optimum Night, that's your reset button. It calms you down, gets you sleeping deep, and you wake up ready to go again. And the results are insane. Michael Owen, the England soccer legend, he's down 40 pounds. Robbie from AFTV dropped over 100. Linda, a top law exec, she's down 50. And Anita, an immigration lawyer, gone 60 pounds. Real people, real results. So if you want in, scan the QR code or hit the link below. And listen, if you use the code SPOT, you get 70% off your first order. Yes, 70% off, so don't wait. Start your transformation right now with Oxford Natural. Let's get to work. Now it's time for a Royal Roundup. We have to discuss, okay, the Duke and Duchess of White Castle, and I mean no disrespect to White Castle, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. They still have their titles. Tick-tock, I'm waiting for them to be stripped of their titles, those lowly little bottom feeders. But there is a story out in page 6, okay? Hollywood is over Meghan and Harry. Now, this is not rocket science. I could have told you this, but they have pretty good sourcing in Hollywood that tells us exactly why people are over them. So here are some quotes. People are sick of them. The act has gotten stale and the couple has no finesse when it comes to business. They're hopeless in professional settings. Apparently, they showed up late to Netflix meetings, allegedly, and then Prince Harry asked a top executive at Netflix for a cup of hot chocolate. Apparently, this is his go-to beverage. Now, in my opinion, this is a power play. Walking into a meeting like a little spoiled brat prince who's never had to work, you walk into a meeting and you ask for hot chocolate. I was an assistant, okay? I was an executive assistant in the entertainment industry in New York, okay? I have done that bitch work. I hated it. I hated it when we had people in for meetings and I'd have to make coffee. I was terrible at that coffee machine in the break room, okay, at my job, okay? I think at One Park Avenue was the building. I hated that freaking coffee machine. And I would be that person who had to go make the hot chocolate. And so when you have a little bitch-ass prince like Prince Harry come in and say he wants hot chocolate for a meeting, come on. You already probably have a personal chef and people working at your house. You don't need to, it sounds so New York, you got people working at your house. You don't need to come into a business meeting at Netflix and ask for hot chocolate. Now I'll read you a little bit more. When they walk into the office, employees have to scramble to, get their whims and their needs. And Meghan Markle, she is convinced she's smarter than everyone and she's very dismissive. Now, another source has told page 6 that Markle is the one in the couple who controls everything. Well, yeah, we know that. We could have told you that. She controls everything. Prince Harry is probably on his psychedelics and his shrooms trying to dissociate half the time. And we saw it in that video after the Dodgers game. So another Hollywood Reporter article in September claimed that staffers are terrified of Meghan. She belittles people. She doesn't take advice. They're both poor decision makers. Well, we know that. They left the royal family. They change their minds frequently. Harry is a very, very charming person, no airs at all, but he's very much an enabler, and she's just terrible. So we have some conflicting reports. Some people say Prince Harry is a diva. Some people say he's not. But overall, every source says Meghan Markle is a diva. And it's always these people, right? Meghan Markle, she claims she came from nothing and grew up over a garage. We find out she went to private school in Northwestern and her dad allegedly paid for everything. And then she married a prince and she had a frickin' royal wedding. And then that wasn't good enough for her. So I'm not shocked that Meghan Markle is a frickin' diva. She seems like a diva. And we have this other story, right? This story we've talked about for years, but there's some new reporting on this. When she went to Rwanda back in 2016 to do this World Vision work, whatever she was doing, her humanitarian work, she demanded allegedly first-class flights and to have a personal photographer and makeup artist. And she's freaking in Rwanda posing with the African kids like, hello, taking selfies and videos and doing all of this, which is kind of what she's doing with Prince Harry now. She sets up the camera. She takes videos of the kids, videos of Prince Harry, which apparently he does not like. So Meghan Markle, she's all about the show because there's no substance. Meghan Markle, she's like an ocean that's like a centimeter deep. She looks real great on the surface, but there's just nothing there underneath her because she's just a girl who's wanted to be famous her whole life. She marries a prince, she has a royal wedding, and then she's such an idiot, right? She's not that bright and intelligent. She's such an idiot. She then decides she's going to leave the royal family after 18 months. She could have had her feet up eating crumpets and scones and going to ribbon cuttings, okay? Now she's hawking jams, jellies, and dog biscuits, okay? What a fall from grace. What a fall from grace. Speaking of the royals, I need to have a sip of tea. Been getting heated. But no, Meghan Markle, she's just one of these women, right? She's her own worst enemy and her own saboteur. Because if you get something like that, if I married into the royal family, do y'all think y'all would hear from me again? I would be over in the castle. over in London, living my best life, okay? I would have my feet up, eating crumpets and scones. I'll take Prince Andrew's title. I'll be the Duke of York. I don't really know what that means, but I'll be the Duke of York. I'll be a freaking, such and such, so-and-so, Lord of the Commons. I don't care. I'll take any title. But Meghan Markle, she joins the royal family, then she turns around and craps on them. She shanks them. She accuses them of racism. And then we find out, according to everyone in Hollywood, that she's hard to work with, and I'm not shocked. But let's move on to a real royal named Prince William. So Prince William, he is in Brazil to present the Earthshot Prize, which is the annual award from his charity, his very famous charity. He's giving speeches, he's talking at the UN's annual climate conference and meeting, yada, yada, yada. I'm not into all that stuff, but I love Prince William. Okay, his trip is gonna last 5 days. I wanna say this. I'm glad he's there. I'm glad he's doing humanitarian work. I love Prince William. He looks great. I hate to be superficial, but it's going to be nice to have a king of England who is very handsome and attractive and fit. And people want to say, oh, he's bald, he's balding, and we like Prince Harry because he's got his hair. I don't care if he's bald. I love a good bald man, and he can pull off the bald. He can pull off the bald, and it's interesting to see the coverage of Prince William's trip because you're reminded, oh, this is what a royal is supposed to look like. This is what real royalty looks like when they're going out there and meeting the people. And when you see him, he's got his shoes off, his pants rolled up, his sleeves rolled up, he's mingling and hugging everybody. It's the antithesis of Meghan Markle. The antithesis of Meghan Markle, who wants hair and makeup and personal photographers. William is there to get dirty and work, and he's not there for photo ops. Okay, he's actually there because of this charity he's very passionate about and that he has set up. Now, let me read you a little bit more. On his first day in Brazil, he visited Copacabana Beach, and while he was there to focus on environmental conservation and the life-saving work of the lifeguards on the beach, he also had time for a classic Brazilian beach sport, volleyball. Now, he was really getting down and dirty playing volleyball. This is not someone who is a precious little member of the royal family who can't get dirty. This is a man of the people who understands we got to bring these young folks in. We got to show up for these young people. I love that. Prince William, he picked up a ball and joined the children from disadvantaged communities for the game of volleyball. The youngsters were from the Levante Institute, a school run by Brazilian Olympian Carolina Solberg that aims to transform the lives of children through the sport. So he's getting kids active. He's out there showing up. That is what we want from the modern royal family. We like King Charles. No problem with Camilla, but I'm excited for William and Catherine to really modernize the monarchy because they know how to bring these young folks in and get them engaged, and they're not afraid of getting dirty or having a misstep or stumbling in public, right? Catherine is open about her health issues and how she struggled getting back to work and getting into the swing of things after cancer, right? This is what we want from the modern royals, and I can't wait to see them become king and queen someday soon. I want to talk about snacks for a minute. Back in the day, chips and fries were cooked in tallow. Then the 90s hit and big corporations pushed cheap seed oils. Now those oils are 20% of our calories, linked to inflammation and metabolic problems. Not cool. You guys know I love Vandy crisps, and they're bringing it back with just 3 ingredients: heirloom potatoes, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow, no seed oils. That tallow's loaded with nutrients for your skin, brain, and hormones, and it makes these chips taste unreal. You feel light, energized, no bloat or crash like with regular chips. They're 100% American made, no shortcuts, and hands down the best chip I've had. The tallow means you're satisfied without overeating. My favorite, Smokehouse Barbecue. It's next level. Ready to level up your snack game? Give Vandy a try and go to vandycrisps.com/link and use code LINK for 25% off your first order. That's vandycrisps.com/link. Code LINK for 25% off your first order. And if you don't feel like ordering online, that's fine. Vandy is now available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket, so stop by and pick up a bag before they are gone. Well, my friends, that concludes this episode of Spot On with Link. Lauren, I absolutely love all of you. I am humbled and I'm grateful, genuinely, that any of you tune in to watch us and share our podcast and share our show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that you follow us on social media. I have to tell you, we have some exciting news, okay? On SiriusXM, starting this week, my podcast will be on channel 111 on Tuesday and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Eastern, which is perfect. I am so excited that we're going to be on SiriusXM. This is part of the new MK Media channel, the Megyn Kelly channel. This is a great time slot, okay? 9 a.m. Eastern. You got folks in California on Central Time, Mountain Time. They're driving to work. They're getting ready for their day. And I can come on and yap and yap and yap and maybe give them a little bit of uplifting that they might need in the morning on the way to work. So I'm so excited that the show is going to be on SiriusXM. I love all of you. I will see you soon on social media, and I will see you back here on Monday with a new episode. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.